All right, we got a Tuesday recap. I got my MacBook back, so I can finally, uh, so I can finally, like trade normally again. Okay, so going into the day, we've been bearish as fuck, and we have some good lows to target, and targeting mainly, okay, I can't go on that time frame because the Zoom thing is blocking it, but there's a relatively strong low down there. And so I'm targeting that, but there's targets along the way. Um, yeah, so going today, I'm bearish. Reason why I also have Top Step X is because now I have the 30-second chart, and that helps a lot, especially with these days that are just bearish, or the days that are just bullish, where we're just shooting up. Finding these like 30-second imbalances or something to that don't show up on the 1 minute is pretty helpful. But also could also um fuck you up as it did to me today. But yeah, let's get into it. So, um, yeah, off of market open, we manipulate. mm, this is today, right? Yes. Okay. So off of market open, right? We look bearish. Nasdaq, I mean ES, hits this 5 minute gap. Um, and then we get displaced from that. NQ is just bearish, right? So we get this 5 minute close below that, but we're still in a 15 minute technically. As soon as we get that 15 minute down there, it's pretty clear where we're going. We're going down, you know? Um, so yeah, we get through it like right here. There's this fair value gap right here that gets respected, this reaction, but like I'm not confident at that moment that we're gonna go lower yet. I do think we are bearish, but that's just not an entry that I would like to take. Uh, on the 30 second, let's see it on here. I believe it was cleaner. Yeah, it was a good reaction. Um, but yeah, like just nothing for me to take. We end up sweeping this low down here, both NQ and Nasdaq, but I do think we are still bearish. We don't retrace to a 5 minute gap because like on these days we just like we barely retrace. If we do get that, it like barely fills it and then just goes down. You're not going to get like a plus, inverse out of it, retrace the equilibrium, all that shit. So um we do get a decent reaction out of this. We do, yeah, somewhat invert this, but then this leg down where we invalidate this for value gap, this for value gap, we displace below this low. Not a bad trade. We also did just sweep it, so eh. Right here, mark out. We chop around, and I do think we are still bearish, right? There's a 5 minute gap right here. We tempt the 5 minute. What I wanted to see was, a retrace up to here, sweep out this high and this Varela gap also in the 5 minute, get it inverse down. Did not get that. What we instead did was we chopped around, hit that 5 minute gap, wicked, and then we got this displacement down. Now, this, right? Super, super simple concept that I've been missing out for so incredibly long when on these days where you're bearish and everything, like you mitigated this 5 minute gap. Sure, we have a 5 minute gap all the way up here, but like this is mitigated. We're not all going all the way back up there from this low, right? So everything above is balanced, so you don't have to worry about anything above. We should not come back above. If we do, that's a very clear indication that it's pretty bad price action because this low is getting hit. Um, so what do you do with here? You wait for some sort of bearish confirmation. Sure, you can take a limit here because this gap is like I'm 90% sure this gap is going to hold. Um, but I don't have confidence with taking limit entries and for the price action for the past couple of months all the limit entries that I would be, entering, like does not is not a good win rate. With the reaction though, that is a much higher win rate. So I want to make sure this doesn't get ran through basically. So we respect it, right? We sweep this high and then we get this bearish close, but we also like wick crazy and I'm not a fan of that entry. But then we get a close below right here. And actually, I think, yeah, there was an SMT here too, this little SMT. But basically there wasn't too much room to really take anything. What I could take is since this is mitigated and we got a close below right here, could have taken a, light size and I wouldn't get a 1-1 there. I'd have to go here and hold for a couple points or something like that. Not a bad trade idea. Um, Me personally though, it's just I don't like that. I rather this low not get swept, but honestly, it's the same exact thing on the 5 minute. We mitigated this and then we displaced lower. So this is gonna hold. We mitigated this and then we displaced lower. That's probably gonna hold, but that's just not an entry that I'm gonna take. Um, let's see. Mm, so okay. Mm, yeah. So honestly, no entries there. Perfectly fine. We hit the low on ES, right? And so we have an S&P at that low, and almost every single time, what happens when we put an S&P at a low or we just sweep out the main draw on liquidity, we chop. And I made the mistake of trading this day, which is kind of cooked because there really wasn't anything crazy clean. I came back on the charts right here, right? Um, when did I take this setup? Okay, yeah. So this is what I took, right? So we came into a bearish imbalance. We swept everything. We displaced like crazy. And then we get this 30-second inverse, which I think is pretty clean. That was at what, 150? Yeah. 130. No, where would this be here? This? What time is this? 153. Yeah. So if you look right, we displaced like crazy. We beautiful V shape down here, and then we retraced to exactly where I want to retrace. And get this 30-second inverse. And there is a 1 minute fair value gap there, but this is my first time trading on the 30-second. I was like, that's super clean. All the other ones, are super clean that I've seen. And I entered right there and I got stopped out right there. Um, Looking back on it, the only issue that I had with this is that the 1 minute didn't inverse. Um, was it 153? Yeah, so it was right here, right? Honestly beautiful setup, right? But there's still a 1 minute for value gap and higher time frame, whatever, if this didn't exist and there was no higher time frame for value gaps, it was only a 30-second, I think that would 100% play out. Um, but that's just not the case. And then the other trade I took to get this back, basically, um, was this trade, which honestly, do I think it was an A plus trade? Absolutely not. But it it is a very good example um of like the mitigating stuff and then just displacing lower, right? So we swept this high, came into a fair value gap, we displaced lower, we inversed all of these gaps, right? This 1 minute gap, right? There's nothing that we need to mitigate to go lower. There's literally nothing, right? So I hopped in the 30-second, right? This is mitigated, all that's mitigated, right? Um That's not where I took my entry, bro. Hold on. Yeah, okay, it was right here. Okay. So, yeah, we got that flip right here. I got stopped out. But then I was waiting to see what happens, right? Because this right here is OTE of the range. If we, after this reaction, we come back down here, sweep this out and continue going lower, we're like 100% going to these lows. So what I ended up doing, right, is I saw that this 30-second imbalance, right? We wicked it twice and we rejected pretty hard. This is mitigated. Everything else above this is mitigated. We are going to these lows. So all you have to do is enter here. This is where I got my entry, I'm pretty sure. We shouldn't go to these highs because it's already mitigated and took it to these lows. I definitely did not get that entry. What I got a much worse fill. I got one to like here, I want to say. It was like a 1 to 1.2 or something. So that was the execution. I would say this would have been better, but like we went into some crazy chop and I held through it just because I knew that this is mitigated already. We're not going to here again. We shouldn't come to these wicks and we should just eventually displace. Um, and that's exactly what we did and made it back. Do I think that that was a crazy good entry? No. Do I think it was at like a B plus setup? Yes. And do I think I was confident in this? Yes. Um, Another thing, did I think I needed to make back my loss? Yes. That is the worst thing for a fucking a trader. Like, especially me. I don't do good with losses, and especially because it was the first trade in the combines, and it was off of something that I thought was super clean, and it was just my first time using 30-second chart, and I made a mistake, and I lost 1,000 on each. Like I was a little, you know, but we learned from that. We know exactly, know exactly what to do for the future, and yeah. And honestly, it kept displacing lower. It went like way past it. I could have held it and made back my money and then probably be up like another 1,000 or something. So it's a shame, but break even day. Um, but this is like super super helpful to the point where no more Asia unless it is um like crazy volume, crazy good volume, and we're just like continuation. And that's going to be the move, and New York next day is going to be bad, which doesn't really happen. So if Asia is normal Asia, never trading that. PM session, I will be trading if I see something. If number one, the morning session is ass, right? Then I can trade PM. Or if I see a clean 5 minute model, like a 5 minute inverse or just a 5 minute displacement from a gap, or if it's like a 1 minute inverse from a 5 minute gap or something like that. That is all I'm limited to. I'm not doing this discretional, filling these imbalances, mitigating all that shit. Because what's just gonna end up happening is I'm gonna take worse setups because PM is notoriously just worse than AM. Um, and I don't want that, you know. I back tested 5 minute reads during PM session and that's just what I'm confident in. So I'm gonna be doing that. And AM session is just gonna be normal, um, discretionary trading. Um, but yeah. Honestly, bro, like the more I look back at this, like this is not a bad entry for your stops up here. Like that's a super easy 1-to-1. And like we're obviously going lower. We're not going to this high. This is already mitigated. We're not going like this gap is gonna hold us. So yeah. Kind of bummed I took that loss. Stupid loss, but made it back and won't be doing any stupid shit from now on because I'm tired of working at fucking Olive Garden, to be honest. And I want to actually live my fucking life and make money and stop beating myself up because, a whole bunch of shit, It's about time I get fucking money from this shit. And like trading like this is gonna help me get more entries. I'm confident with it. It makes sense to me. And yeah, that's it.